Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio. You're here with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast again this week. I hope you had an absolutely fabulous week. I know I did. It's our first week of summer here and I always feel so much more energised when the warmer weather comes. I know for the people that live in the Northern Hemisphere, you guys are heading into winter and snow and cold and really enjoying your festive season. But here in Australia, we like to do things a little bit differently. Beach, sun, hot weather, sticky days, swimming in the ocean, doing all those wonderful, fun summer things. So it's been a really awesome week like that. We've had rain and storm events everywhere here in Australia. But I would like to not just honour our Australian friends that have been going through weather events this week, and there's been a number of them here right around our amazing country, but our hearts and our wishes and our thoughts and our prayers go out to the Californian family as well, because they're facing bushfires at the moment, and I know only too well firsthand, I grew up in a bushfire area, how dangerous and how life-threatening they can be, and it's a very different event from a flood. I know floods are very terrible too, I've been through those as well, but there's something even more scary, I think, about fires, because it's the unknown, it's unpredictable. You don't really have time to get out of the road. So let's hope and pray that they get some rain very soon and extinguishes those fires so that those families can get on and enjoy the holiday season. So for those of you that watch the show regularly, you'll know each week we do a few little things we do before we take a reading or two. So this week is no exception. We're going to kick the show off with the Simply Tarot card of the week. And again, this week I'm going to say it's not one of my most favourite cards, but I think it's a very apt card for this time of the year, and I think it's going to be something that's going to be a little bit thought-provoking and a little bit, oh dear, I didn't really want that card for this week. But we all have to embrace what is drawn on a cosmic level for each and every one of us. And this week, the card of the week is the Ten of Swords. Now, a lot of people shudder when they see this card because they see a person laying flat on the ground with 10 swords in their back and they say, well, that's pretty final. Well, yes, it is. It is the card of death, endings, of situation or relationship. Now, the reasons why I'm saying it's a very apt card for this particular time of the year is the fact that a lot of people are facing endings in their life. A lot of doors are closing. People are finishing up jobs, finishing up school, finishing up relationships, moving home, moving countries, doing lots of things. There's a time of a lot of endings, change and transformation. And it's also the time, I think, when we regurgitate what has gone on in this last 12 months since we were here at this time last year, and we look at the things that may have changed or ended in our lives. Some of them are positive and some of them are not so positive. So it is a time of very deep reflection, and it's a time to sort of say, okay, sometimes things do mean to close or do need to end because it is like a death. It's final. It's something that we don't need to go back and visit. So for those of you that have been experiencing a situation like that, my heart does go out to you, but know that it is part of the evolution of you, the journey that you need to be taking as a soul here on earth. Not everything can always be good. If everything was always good, we would have nothing to compare it to. Everything would just be so humdrum. Everything would always be exciting and positive and good, and we'd have no low points in our life, so that it wouldn't make us appreciate the great things that are coming towards us or the things that we may have to experience. It's also a time of the year where a lot of us have had some sort of loss at some stage or another in our lives, and some people tragically have dealt with loss of loved ones this year. And it's the very first Christmas where that person's no longer going to be with us. And that can be a time of great anxiety and great pain. And it's a very personal time because it's the time where everybody knows about it, everybody understands it, but nobody wants to talk about it. It's like, oh, no, we don't talk about that subject, or we don't recognise Uncle Henry just because he's no longer with us and he passed away in June. And that's the very wrong attitude, I believe, to take to this holiday Christmas period, because I feel this is the time when we really should honour those that are no longer with us, that won't be at the Christmas table for lunch or dinner this year. That we really should be talking about them and remembering them and remembering the funny stories or the traditions that they might have had, or the way that they used to sort of always throw their peas on the floor for the dog to eat. Anything like that that can bring a smile to people's face and make us feel as if we're connecting with them stronger than what we would have otherwise. And this is why this week I've chosen a very special candle that I know we've featured before on the show, but the difference this week is that we've got a Christmas edition out with a beautiful little wooden lid, and we've got them on special price for Christmas, and there's My Angel in the Sky. Now, this is one of my favourite candles out of our range of 27. It's a candle that I specially designed for just exactly that, to honour our loved ones that are no longer with us. And it's a special time of the year. I know I will have two burning very brightly on my Christmas table this year to honour those people in my family and my friends that are no longer with me. And the list is too long to sort of explain who they are. But there's one particular gentleman that always takes centre stage at my Christmas table, and that was my beloved father of my children. He's been gone a very, very long time now, over 30 years. But there hasn't been a Christmas that's gone past where I don't still keep up our family traditions that we had as a family. When our children were little, in our house, the Christmas tree must touch the roof. It always has to be a fresh tree. And it always has to be something that, you know, Christmas was a very special occasion in our house. My late husband believed that Christmas started at the first day in November and finished after his birthday in March. So we always had a plethora of Christmas decorations either going up, staying or being taken down. So we had Christmas for a very extended period from November through to March. So I've always honoured that tradition and I still carry it on today. My children look at me strange and say, oh, Mum, you know, Dad's not here and we don't need to keep this up, and my children are grown now and have families of their own. But it's interesting that how some of these traditions do stay with us. So for those of you that might want an extra special gift to put under the Christmas tree, we have My Angel in the Sky in a gift box set of 3 mini candles, which is packaged ready for Christmas or that gift-giving situation. And it's just something that they're more a travel-size candle if you're looking for something smaller or inconspicuous. So now we're going to continue on with what we've been looking at in the last few weeks. The last week in particular was Neptune through the signs. So, you know, I like to sort of educate on this program and so share with you some of my little bit of knowledge I have in astrology and help you understand how the planets do dance around in the universe and how they do influence each and every one of us, that there's no such thing as a bad planet and they're all good in my opinion. It's just they have varying roles and job descriptions is like how I like to describe it. They all have a role and a place to play in the cosmic stew of the zodiac, that they have to do what they are sent down here to do. So Neptune is the planet of the illusion or delusion. So this is where we get a lot of creativity from. This is where we have things that can happen really fast in our lives. And when Neptune's in Cancer, it can be a little bit tricky here because it's sort of like controlled intuition. It's like Neptune is trying to say to Cancer, now come on, stop snivelling, let's get your act together, stop feeling emotional and sorry for yourself, let's make this intuition, this illusion and things like this and the fog work for you. Don't look at it in a negative, let's look at it in a positive. So it can be some light bulb moments for the Cancerians who sometimes seem to be walking around in a cloud not knowing what their next step is, and they have tremendous intuition. And Neptune here, I believe, really can enhance that. It can help them ground it. It can help them sort of become a lot more focused and make their intuition and opportunities work for them. And it also gives them a chance to sort of glimpse sometimes at themselves where they are deceiving themselves with a little bit of wishful thinking. So Neptune here plays a very strong role. If you have Neptune in Cancer, you really need to learn to work with the energy of the positives and the negatives of Neptune and really get the best out of this placement in your chart. So Neptune in Leo, I mean, what can I say? Anything to do with Leo is proud, dramatic. Let's roll the stage out because I want to be centre stage, and no change here whatsoever. It's just sort of like the Leo dramatics really come to life here. It's like, what can I create? How can I create the best stage play? How can I create the best theatre? Even if it is the theatre of life, let me show you how Neptune can work in a very dramatic, theatrical way. And definitely the Leo energy will sparkle and shine here. So when we move into Neptune in Virgo, well, this is where we sort of look at Neptune and we sort of say, well, why does Virgo want to sort of say, okay, let's sort of ground everything, let's make everything come to a screaming halt? Well, that's not exactly true. Neptune's role here is to sort of help Virgo become a little bit looser around the edges and sort of loosen up a little bit and say, okay, there can be some creative areas here. There can be a way that we look at health and vitality and practical matters and roll them all into one. Maybe we can find some innovative new ways of dealing with emotional problems or emotional issues in a creative, different way to the way anybody else has looked at it. I believe Neptune in Virgo was probably when they discovered things like psychiatry and working with the mind and helping people understand their emotions and looking at it from a different angle. That, you know, with that very logical, practical, almost forensic way of looking at things, that Neptune was able to put everything under the microscope, particularly on an emotional level, and come up with some practical solutions on how to handle this gamut of emotions that we didn't know what to do with. So as you can see, Neptune really does change flavours as he works his way through the zodiac. So next week we'll continue on with our 4-part series, and it'll be in Libra, Scorpio and Sagittarius. So it's been a really, really big week astrologically this week, and I do apologise that last week I didn't mention the fact that we were going to have the full moon in Gemini. It was my mistake. I suppose I was so busy worrying about what was going on in the universe, I forgot to have a look at where the moon was. And we did experience over the weekend the full moon in Gemini, and it was a really powerful full moon. It was one of those full moons that I think caught everybody off a little bit by surprise. Everybody thought, I've got this one in the bag. I've really got this one under control. You know, I've done everything that I need to do to get ready to release anything that's no longer necessary in my life. I've done everything. I've cleared the clutter of my mind. I've quietened the noise down of all the thoughts and the ideas. I've got the Christmas shopping under control. I'm getting ready to head to the party. And whammo, along came the full moon in Gemini, and he said, well, do you really think you've got everything in control? What about this and what about that? And have you spoken to this one? And have you finished that? And have you finished this? And have you finished that? And a lot of people sort of felt as if their head was spinning. It was like the hard drive spinning out of control in their mind, and they weren't able to sort of stop it and get off the merry-go-round. And it was a bit like that. And then to add insult to injury, we had Mercury, the planet of communication, decided to commence his retrograde process right on the same day. So it was like a push-pull situation with the full moon in Gemini, but Mercury was in Sagittarius, which is the polar opposite. So it was like this push-pull of, have you spoken to this person? No, go away, I don't want to talk about it now, I'm not ready to. Oh, yes, you are. And it sort of, you know, it was as if the other person read your mind, and all of a sudden they were there wanting to have this conversation that you didn't feel you were ready for, and it was on for young and old. And a lot of people found that there was arguments and disagreements that they hadn't bargained on, miscommunications with, you know, travel arrangements or plans for the weekend or the Christmas party that they were attending, or weather events got on the road and things had to be rescheduled or changed. It was just a very chaotic time. But I also had a number of people that messaged me and said, Amanda, do you know that what is going on with this full moon? I've been sick. You know, I was perfectly fine at 10 o'clock in the morning. By 2 o'clock I was, you know, head down in the bathroom being very sick. And then, you know, as fast as it came, it left again. And the only thing I could work out from that was I feel that there was a very big cosmic shift. And a lot of people that have done a lot of work on themselves recently, it had to be purged. And, you know, Gemini, any Gemini energy is that real fast, sudden release of anything, whether it's on a thought pattern or whether it's on a physical. But when you've been doing a lot of emotional work on yourself and doing a lot of releasing of, you know, processed energies and things that you may have been holding on to for a long time, it has to come out somewhere on the physical. So that's why it was fast, furious, it was in, it was out, and then, you know, the next thing you knew, you were feeling fighting, fit and dangerous again, which is good. So it's a very interesting time astrologically at the moment, because we do have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius until the 26th of December, when he starts to sort of slowly ramp up his energies to move forward again, or to go direct as it's known. Mercury is the planet of communication. This is not the ideal time to go in and ask the boss for the pay rise or have that deep and meaningful conversation with someone unless you're prepared for the fact that they may not have their listening ears on and may not see it from your point of view. So can I ask everybody to err on the side of caution as we're getting together for the family and the festivities over the Christmas holiday season? where, you know, there's going to be people and alcohol and tempers get a little bit frayed and people say things that have been, you know, bubbling away under the surface for a long time, and it all seems to come out at the Christmas table or on Christmas Day. This year, be particularly careful because Mercury is retrograde. But not only that, we also have the last few degrees of Saturn in Sagittarius. Now, Saturn in Sag will end his reign in Sagittarius around the same time that Mercury goes direct. So Saturn will be ready to jump over into Capricorn. So he's had a 2.5-year stint in Sagittarius, which has been a time where Sagittarians, and particularly all the fire signs, have noticed there's been a little bit of limitation, restriction, reorganisation in their lives, a time when they've really had to become more professional, downsize, or look at condensing what was important in their lives, really looking at the important facets going forward so they can get ready for the next cycle of growth and solidifying what they have changed in their lives in the last 2.5 years. So when you have this sort of conjuncting or holding hands with Mercury that's also going retrograde, it's sort of like a real fraying of tempers. It can be one person sort of feeling like I'm running out of time, I've got to get this off my chest, I've got to say it, and Mercury says, oh, hang on a minute, you know, and adds a few other colourful words there. So it can be a time where there can be extra arguments that don't need to be aired at this time. It can also be on a positive level at the time of where people can really sit down and muddle through their issues and say, okay, now let's sit down, let's find a disciplined, constructive way to get a resolution and move forward. On a more positive note, we do have the Sun in Sagittarius, of course, which is absolutely fabulous because it is the Sagittarian time of the year and roll on Christmas. And I'm happy to say that the Sun is actually holding hands with Venus, the planet of love and affection. So there's more than enough love and happiness and joy and everything that the season should be to go around. So let's hope that Venus and the Sun actually sort of outshadow a little bit of the Mercury and Saturn little dance. Let's go for the positive. Let's go for the happiness, the joy, the laughter, the children, the wonder, the excitement of the season, and everything that it brings with it, the hope of a new year and positive changes, and being grateful, I think, for what we do have. I think far too many of us get bogged down in the commercial side of Christmas and forget what Christmas is really about, and that's being with the ones that we love, remembering the people that are no longer with us, and it's the art of giving. And sometimes the art of giving is just giving of ourselves, a smile, a conversation with somebody that may not have someone else to talk to. That's what Christmas is about. It's not about the commercial side of getting the biggest gift or who can buy you the best, you know, latest gadget that's out on the market. It's the joy of giving of yourself and being kind to other people. And if I could have one wish for Christmas, I would wish that everybody would find peace, happiness, there'd be no more homeless people in the world, and everybody would have a roof over their head and have something to smile about. And that would be my wish for Christmas. But anyway, moving along with the show, we're going to take our first caller. It's Loopy in Indianapolis, in Indiana, USA. Are you there, Lupe?
Yes, I am.
Hello. How can I help you?
Hi, how are you?
Do you have a question for me?
Yes, ma'am. I was wondering where things are going with my husband and myself, as well as what might be going on with my children and my grandson.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a very complicated question all in a couple of minutes, but we'll do our very best. Okay. With you and your husband, the first thing that they were showing me is there's some endings, changes and transformations going on there. So has there been a couple of big decisions that have just been made or just about to be made that is going to change the course and direction of your lives in 2018?
Yes.
Good. Well, I think you're right on cue there with that. I think you need to just sort of fine-tune that and be comfortable with the choices and the decisions that you've made. It was a little bit tricky there for a while where I felt the two of you were on opposite sides of the table as far as what you felt was the right steps going forward. But now we seem to be sort of at least on the same page, and that's what we don't always have to agree. You know, we can sometimes have a difference of opinion, but we still get to the right destination, which is good. So moving on to your children, is there 3 of them?
2.
2. Why am I picking up the 3? Is that the married couple with the grandchild. Maybe that's the way they're showing it to me.
I also have 2 stepchildren.
Yes,
but,
no?
he and I just have the 2 girls.
Right, yeah, but one of those girls has a child?
Yes.
Right, okay. So your daughter that has the child, has there just been a change of residence for them?
Yes.
There still seems to be some changes coming up there for that little family. I don't feel that they're completely in the clear just yet. I think by about March, by then, everything will have settled down for them. But your daughter that has the grandchild, she seems to have had a couple of shocks this year, that sort of things that happened in her life that she wasn't expecting and has made her sort of reevaluate where her life's going. Is that correct?
Could be. I'm hoping so.
Okay, so she hasn't shared that with you as yet?
No.
Okay, well, she will. I feel she's on the right track, but there's still some adjustments there that need to be made. With the other daughter, is it fair to say those 2 sisters don't get along?
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't see any change there, Mum. You can pray for a miracle, but I don't think it's going to happen just yet. They're both frightfully independent, and it's almost like they love and hate each other at the same time. And I think that's the way they've always been, and it's probably the way they'll always be. But they will mellow a bit as they go through life. But I think you've just got to accept, Mum, that you've done an absolutely amazing job, you and your husband, raising 2 frightfully independent young women who take no crap from anybody, including each other.
This is true.
Yes, they're very, very lucky in that way that they have, you know, you've done an exceptional job, so don't be too hard on yourself about that, because these girls, they do love each other deep down. It's just a very competitive soul energy between the 2 of them. I think at some stage or another in other lifetimes, I think they were twins, and this is why I think they're still so competitive today. Even though they weren't born twins in this lifetime, the energy is still very close like that, and that's why they sort of love-hate each other at the same time. But there's changes for that daughter as well in the coming 12 months, but I see her sort of, I don't know whether it's a resurgence of love within the relationship she's in or a new love to come in, but there's certainly a strengthening of love coming up around the daughter, the second daughter there.
She'll be glad to know that. The funny thing is they're considered Irish twins, because although they're not twins, they were both born within the same year. So they're very close in age.
Okay, yep. Showing twin energy. Well, that makes sense then. But I think they were twins in another lifetime too, and this is why they're always going to be competitive, Mum. But anyway, lovely to speak with you, Lope. Have a very, very Merry Christmas and enjoy your family. We're going to go to Donna now in Mobile. Hello, Donna, are you there?
Hi, yes I am.
Hello?
Hello?
How can I help you tonight, sweetie?
Yes, I'm
Hi,
here.
do you have a question for me?
Just whatever you feel, I guess. Maybe loved ones that has passed or something.
Yeah, loved ones only come through if they have something in specific that they want to share with me. I mean, it's not as if we can just sort of dial up who you particularly want to speak to. I mean, there's certainly 4 or 5 of them sort of sitting up there having a good time, sort of keeping an eye on you at the moment, and they're not all male. I felt 3 females, 2 males. They didn't sort of come forward with any distinguishing messages or answers that I can give you, just that they are watching over you. What they are showing me, though, is the fact that I think this year has been a very rocky sort of year for you, Donna. It's sort of like there was more twists and turns this year than you felt comfortable with. I'm pleased to say I think that's now sort of easing off. Things are going to start to become a lot more fluid, a lot easier for you as we head into 2018. Was there a change of job this year, or were you thinking about it?
No. No job.
Did you think about changing your job, though? Because they keep showing me a change of...
Probably a change. It was a change, maybe a place or address or something.
No, they were showing me a change in how your income was structured, not so much a change of location.
I haven't seen that. No, I haven't seen a change in that.
Well, there must be a change coming in the early part of the new year then, because they're very adamant. These 5 from above are very adamant. There's a change in how your income is structured for the better, and you will be happy with it. So I have to go with what they're sharing with me. They're also saying to me, you've got to forgive yourself. You're too hard on yourself. You need to let go of being so hard on yourself. You know, allow yourself to say, well, okay, sometimes I just don't know. And just go with the flow. If you can learn to do that, I think your life will start to flow better than what it has done. You know, it's been a tough couple of years, but things are certainly much, much clearer for you in 2018. And they've just got a beautiful big smile on their face. So I can only say to you, Donna, that they know something we don't know yet, and they're very excited about it. So I think put your dreams out there of what you'd like to see happen, because I think they're working on them for you. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to work with us again on the show. Next week we will continue our third part in our series of Neptune in the signs. We'll be looking at Neptune in Libra, Scorpio and Sagittarius. We will have our Simply Tarot card of the week. We will also have our soy candle of the week, and we'll have a little trip around the universe to see what's happening as we glimpse through the amazing eyes of astrology. I just hope that you'll keep California in your prayers this week. And let's pray for rain there so that those bushfires can be put out. Whatever you're doing in this amazing planet of ours, make sure that you open a car door, smile at somebody, be kind to somebody during this beautiful Christmas period, and have a smile on your face. Let's make the world a much, much brighter place with lots of light, lots of love and lots of energy. And let's just be kind to each other. It's a very magical time of the year. Let's express that with everybody so that we can bring joy to people that may not necessarily have anything to be joyful for. But by you giving them a smile and showing them that you are in a happy place, that radiates happiness to them too. So I look forward to seeing you all again next week on the show. Until then, happy Christmas shopping and enjoy the season wherever you are in this amazing globe of ours. Bye for now.